He kept saying things like, "We're going to heaven soon." His behavior became more and more erratic, and he was getting angrier and more unpredictable. In that moment, I truly believed that he was capable of taking my children's lives and mine. I was so scared that they might not make it out alive. Hi, Scene TV. This is my story. In the beginning of the relationship, he wasn't abusive or controlling, but about a month into the relationship, things started to change. He became very controlling, always questioning what I was doing, where I was going. He even refused to go to work and just stopped going to work completely unless I went to work with him. Before the kidnapping, me and my children were already living in the cycle of abuse. It was super scary. It was exhausting every single day. And I felt completely trapped. Like I didn't know who I could reach out to. I felt really alone. And I was trying to protect my kids the best that I knew how. But I didn't always know if I was doing enough. There was a protective order in place, and I had already made police reports after he had put me in the hospital multiple times for head injuries. My children were 2, 5, and 9 years old. They were very little. I remember the day that it happened. He showed up to my house. He wasn't supposed to be there. I was super scared. I was getting my children ready for school that morning, and I felt like I didn't have a choice. And so I rushed out of the house with him and my children because I felt like he was pressuring me and begging to talk to me. And I told him that we could talk once I had dropped my children off at school and daycare. And at first, the day felt pretty normal. We went and did a few things. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary, but at night, in the evening, before I picked my children up, things had escalated. He got violent and physical with me, and I said, "I'm picking up my children and I'm going home." And he stole my car keys, and that's when he proceeded to go to the daycare and told me that I couldn't get out of the car and to wait here and that he was getting my kids. Once he had us in the vehicle, he took our phones, put them in the glove box. I was begging him to let me go back, turned around, "Please at least call my mom." My daughter was begging to call my mom, but he just kept driving and said we were going to a friend's house, and then he kept passing the friend's house and just kept driving. There were moments that I had tried to escape, but every time I did, it made things so much worse for me and for my children. He would pull me back in the car and hurt me, and my kids would start screaming and crying. It was so exhausting and so terrifying. He kept saying things like, "We're going to heaven soon," and he'd point up to the sky and say over again. And I tell him, "Do not talk like that. My children are going to grow up and they're going to have kids and their kids are going to have kids. That is not happening." And he would look at me and kind of smirk and start laughing. His behavior became more and more erratic, and he was getting angrier and more unpredictable. I truly believed that he was capable of taking my children's lives and mine. We were held for a little over 19 hours, which felt like days. It finally came to an end when law enforcement found us. There were highway patrol officers and multiple agencies actively searching for us in the community. Even though our phones were off, my daughter had at one point in the drive during the kidnapping pressed the OnStar button when he got out to smoke a cigarette. And I believe that is what helped locate our vehicle and pinged the officers to us. And all of a sudden, we had a police car behind us. And then when he came to a stop, we were surrounded there with probably 20 to 25 officers with their guns drawn at us. I felt relief because I knew we were finally found. But it was still scary because there were guns pointed at my car with my 3 babies inside. I remember telling my daughter, "Put your hands up." And she's like, "I didn't do nothing wrong." They ended up placing us in a hotel. One of the officers let me call my mom. I was crying and letting her know we were safe. I let her talk to my kids. I felt so sick and so shocked and could just completely drain. But I was so grateful and so blessed that my babies were safe and okay. After we were rescued, the police were trying to piece everything together. They searched the vehicle. They had asked me if David was a survivalist. I told them, no, I don't really know what that is. They found items that may made them say it looked like he was planning on taking us off the grid for a very long time. And that's something that has always stuck with me. This experience has changed my life. I struggle with a lot of depression and anxiety and severe PTSD. Even now, I still wake up from nightmares and afraid that he's coming back to hurt us. But then I remind myself that he's locked up and put away. That's not going to happen. I also have long-lasting physical effects. After everything that happened, I was left with multiple head injuries that ended up with a traumatic brain injury. It's changed my memory, my personality, and lots of other things. For a long time, loud noises or yelling would trigger fear in both me and my children. We truly believed that that was him and that he was coming back. But through all this, my children have shown so much strength. This has affected us deeply, and it is something I will carry with me forever. But we're doing everything we can to heal and move forward.
We are seen. Are you?